Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to Lessons in Fiqh. And today, inshallah, we're still talking in the chapter of nullification of ablution, of wudu. Hadith that we have now is 64. And Brother Mustafa will read it for us, please.
Narrated Ali bin Abi Talib, may Allah be pleased with him, I was one whose madhi flowed readily, and asked Miqdad to ask the Prophet ﷺ about it. He said, one should perform ablution in this case.
Okay, now what is madhi? Madhi is preseminal discharge. It's a fluid that comes from the private part after intimacy, sexual intimacy. If someone sees something, watches something, and makes his sexual desire arouse, then he would probably have this form of discharge. And scholars say discharges are divided into 4 categories. And as we've stated earlier, that all discharges are nullificators of wudu. Anything that is discharged from the private parts nullificates a person's wudu. There is urine, and there is what we call madhi. Urine is known to all, so there's no need to describe it. Madhi is a sticky, thin, white fluid that usually comes out after intimacy or after watching something that makes a sexual desire active. Thirdly, we have something that is called wadi, W-A-D-I, wadi. And wadi is a thin, yellowish fluid that usually is discharged in cold areas when it's freezing, or when someone carries something that is a little bit heavy, it comes out. And again, this is one of the things that nullifies your wudu. And finally, the 4th thing is semen, al-mani, which is the origin of mankind. And by discharging it, a person is in the state of sexual impurity. It does not only nullify your wudu, no, it requires that you perform a total bath whenever it is discharged, whether it's discharged while sleeping or through intercourse. This hadith is narrated by Ali ibn Abi Talib, the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ, and at the same time, the son-in-law of the Prophet ﷺ. His wife was Fatima bint Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with her. And if you notice that Ali did not ask the Messenger ﷺ directly. He asked al-Miqdad to ask the Prophet, as if it's from the al-Miqdad himself. And why was that? Because he was embarrassed. He was shy to ask the Prophet ﷺ. And by the way, a person who has this madhi, discharge, is considered to be physically strong because it's a sign of fertility, a sign of productivity. So he was, and Ali was, of course, one of the strongest men around at the time. When he died, he had 4 wives and 9 maids, 9 slaves. Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, was embarrassed to ask the Prophet ﷺ because he is the father of his wife. Had he been someone else, it would have been easier for him to ask, as he said, as he asked al-Miqdad, may Allah be pleased with him, to convey his question, but not to report it through him. And this tells us how we should treat our in-laws. If a person has a wife, he should be very discreet with her parents, with her brothers and sisters. He should not disclose these intimate and private things. He should not also be harsh on her in front of them. He should not complain all the time in front of them. And we always face lots of problems similar to this. We always get complaints from sisters complaining that their husbands abuse them and mistreat them in front of their parents. And this gets the parents depressed. If you were a parent and you saw that your son-in-law treating your daughter in a bad way, you wouldn't feel good about it. But your hands are tied. You can't do anything else because you don't want to destroy your daughter's marriage. So this is a lesson that we should all learn when we treat and deal with our wives. We have our differences, yes. But whenever their parents, whenever her parents are present, whenever her brothers are present, I should always respect her and try to show how much I love her. Though this may not be the case that I love her that much, but I have to pretend so that I would make them feel happy about it. Remember that the father gave you the most precious thing in his life, his daughter. He gave her to you in marriage. So as a token of goodwill, you should not return this gift by abusing or mistreating his daughter. You should honor her. Coming back again, we come to the description of Ali, may Allah be pleased with him. He's asking al-Miqdad to ask the Prophet ﷺ, what is the case? Should I perform total bath? The answer was, no. All what you have to do is perform ablution. The dispute among scholars, some of the scholars say that the Prophet did not order him to wash his private parts. He did not order him to wash his underwear. But in other versions, the order was there to wash his private parts. And that is why they've differed in opinion. Some say you don't have to wash. All you have to do is perform ablution. And whatever was discharged, it's pure. The authentic verdict is, in accordance to the hadith, that the Prophet says you have to wash your private parts. And this is the natural and logical thing, that this is a discharge, and we've stated that any discharge is najis and does nullify your wudu, with the exception of mani. And we will come to explain this, inshallah. Mani is not najis, but we will come to explain this in following hadith, inshallah. But all that comes out nullifies your wudu, nullifies your ablution. You have to perform wudu again. And if this madhi is in contact with any of your underwear, of your body, you have to also wash this so that you will be able to pray again. If we don't have any questions, I think we should move on to the following hadith.
Narrated Aisha radiallahu anha, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam kissed one of his wives and went to pray without performing fresh ablution.
Now this hadith is disputed upon. Some of the scholars say that it is not authentic, but it is inshallah authentic as authenticated by al-Imam al-Albani, may Allah have mercy on his soul. The al-Mu'mineen, the wife of the Prophet, tells us that the Prophet ﷺ may have kissed one of his wives and went to prayer without performing ablution. Okay, what's the reason behind bringing this hadith? It's simple. The Shafi'i school states that if you touch a woman, whether a relative, a mahram, or a non-mahram, you are automatically have nullified your wudu. And the reason behind this is their understanding for a verse in the Quran, which says, أَوْ لَامَسْتُمُ النِّسَاءِ. And lamastum can mean to touch, and also can mean to have intercourse. So Imam al-Shafi'i, may Allah have mercy on his soul, may Allah be pleased with him, one of the leaders, the imams of the 4 schools of thought in Islam. And can we have Muhammad Akbar, can you please tell me what are the 4 schools of thought in Islam? Do you know?
I didn't understand the question. Anyway.
Noor?
Imam Shafi'i.
Well, can you bring them by time sequence?
Firstly, Abu Hanifa.
Abu Hanifa, Nama?
Imam Malik.
Imam Malik ibn Anas?
Al-Imam al-Shafi'i.
Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi'i?
Naam.
And finally?
And finally, Ahmad bin Hanbal.
Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Hanbal. May Allah have mercy on them all. They are all the 4 schools, the major 4 schools of thought in Islam. Imam al-Shafi'i said that anytime you touch a female, then your wudu is nullified, whether accidental or intentional. And this hadith states that it does not nullify your wudu. And the scholars have different opinions. Some of them say, well, it depends. If you touch a female with desire, then it nullifies your wudu. If you touch her without a desire, then it's okay. And the authentic verdict is that if you touch a female with desire, and she's a mahram to you, a wife, then this is okay and does not nullify your wudu. If you touch a stranger, a foreigner to you, a non-mahram woman, with desire, your wudu is still intact, but you have committed a major sin. This is a sin. Shaking hands, touching, this is a sin because she's not related to you. And if you touch a stranger or a non-stranger without any sexual intention, then your wudu is still intact. And when does wudu becomes nullified? If something comes out. If a discharge comes out, then this nullifies your wudu, whether it's with touching with a desire or without a desire, whether you're touching a relative to you, a mahram, or a non-mahram to you. This is the most authentic opinion of all scholars, and the hadith backs it up. You don't kiss your wife without a desire. So the Prophet kissed his wives and prayed without performing ablution. We have a short break, so stay tuned and we will be right back, inshallah.
أستغفر الله العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and welcome back. The following hadith, Brother Fadi, inshallah, will read it for us.
Narrated Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, if one of you feels disturbance in his stomach and doubts whether he has released some air or not, then he should not leave the mosque unless he hears its sounds or smells its odor.
Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, was one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Does anybody know what is his real name? Hamza? Abdurrahman ibn Sakhr al-Dawsi. He is from the southern part of the Arabian Peninsula. And he was one of the companions that reverted to Islam late. So the time that he accompanied the Prophet ﷺ was approximately 3.5 years to 4 years. He reverted to Islam on the day of Khaybar, which was on the 7th year of Hijrah. Yet, he is the largest narrator of hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. And he explains that you, the companions, used to go to the markets and sell and buy to, feed yourself and your families. I, on the other hand, used to accompany the Prophet ﷺ, providing that I find something to eat and drink, and that is it. I used to be with the Prophet ﷺ as long as I have something to eat and drink. I'm not looking to buy or sell or do any of these things, because I wanted to gain knowledge. And that is why he is the most of all companions that narrated hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ. Now, in this hadith, the Prophet states to us indirectly that passing gas, if you pass wind, then your wudu is nullified. Now, you are either certain or you are in doubt. If a person is certain that he has passed wind, then he should perform wudu. This is logical. In some cases, Satan comes and whispers in one's ears that he has done something where you didn't do actually anything at all. So what's the verdict in that? It's very simple. The Prophet tells you, if you have doubt, you're not certain, whether you're praying or outside of prayer, if you have doubt that something has come out, do not consider it as a fact. Because these doubts, Satan builds on them and starts to magnify them until a person is obsessed. And this is the case with a lot of Muslims. They have obsessions regarding the impurities. And so you find someone going into the toilet to answer the call of nature and would probably stay there for half an hour. What are you doing? He said, well, I'm trying to purify myself. Purify yourself. If you're making a surgical surgery, then you'd have finished by now. So, and you find people urinating, and still they think that, no, there is something left. Maybe there's a drop or two. So you hear them coughing, and maybe some of them jumping in the toilet and doing exercise. What are you doing? He said, well, I'm trying to purify myself. This is wrong. This is not natural. This is satanic. It's from Satan. He's coming, he's whispering, he is confusing you. He wants you to be obsessed. And once you're obsessed with this idea, then your whole life is ruined. Because you start to doubt everything you do. This is a najasa. No, it's not. Let me smell it. Let me taste it. Let me take it to the lab. Can you analyze this? All of this is un-Islamic. Islam is a religion of easiness. There's no complication in it. We make life difficult. We complicate things. It shouldn't be the way that Satan wants us to believe in. So, we have a rule in Islam. And this rule applies to everything, single thing in our lives. The rule is, certainty is not changed with doubt. Al-yaqeen la yazulu bil-shak. If you're certain of something, then this certainty is not moved or removed by doubt. Let me give you an example. I perform ablution. I come to this classroom. I know that I have performed ablution before I went out of my house. After 3 or 4 hours, it's prayer time. I think, okay, did I go to the toilet or not? Did I pass wind or not? What is certain? The thing that I'm certain of, that I have performed wudu. I have performed ablution before I left my house. What's the doubt? The doubt, did I nullify this wudu or not? So this doubt has to be cast away. It has to be thrown out. And only the things that are certain remain. And what is certain? That I have performed ablution. So I pray without renewing my ablution. Let's reverse it. I went out of the toilet after urinating. I've answered the call of nature. I urinated. I came out. An hour later, it's prayer time. I'm certain that I've urinated, but did I perform wudu or didn't I? This is doubt. I'm not certain. The thing that I'm certain of, that I've nullified my wudu by urinating. Now the doubt is, did I perform wudu or not? I have to throw out the doubt, which remains to be that I have nullified my wudu, I have to perform wudu again. So I think this is understood. Anybody has any question?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I understand.
Let's begin with Fadi, please.
What if someone is very, very doubtful to the extent that he's so doubtful and he's nervous that he nullifies his wudu on purpose so that he can go perform ablution again?
Now, this is a very serious issue. It's really serious. Don't think of it of, well, this guy's crazy, what he's saying. He does this on purpose? No, this is true. A lot of Muslims have these obsessions. And the funny thing is, a group of men came to Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, the cousin of the Prophet, one of the scholars of Islam. And they said, Ibn Abbas, we have a problem. He said, well, come on, shoot. They say that we met with the Jews and Christians, and they're mocking us. They're laughing at us. They say, you Muslims have obsessions and you whisper in your prayer. You have, wasawis while you pray. You're not having 100% contemplation and concentration in prayer. While we, the Jews and Christians, don't have any problem. When we pray, we are 100% focused. So Ibn Abbas said, it's true. To their surprise, he said, that's true. So when they wanted to know why, he said, what would Satan do with a heart that is empty? Now, if there's a burglar and there's a house full of jewelry and full of nice things to steal and rob from, and there's a poor man's house that has nothing at all, and probably if he goes in, if he breaks in, he's going to put some donation for the guy. Try to buy something. I feel sorry for you. Which house would the burglar choose to steal? The wealthy house, the rich house. And this is the same case with Satan. Now Satan wants to whisper to a believer. Which one he would go to? He would go to the Muslim, because he knows that his heart is filled with faith and iman and belief. Okay, let's change this. Let's make him obsessed with purity. Let's make him obsessed with jealousy. So you get some guys obsessed with jealousy. They're jealous for their wives. So when they leave home, they put a recorder, or they tap the phone, or they hire a private eye to monitor his wife's movements. And this is all un-Islamic. Life is not that difficult. Don't make it that difficult. So this obsession is the result of shaitan. If you follow it, it will destroy your life, because you're going to spend all of your life trying to think, am I pure? Am I not pure? And this would cause you to be mentally and physically ill, chronically that is, especially in the sense of wudu. I remember once I performed prayer in an Arab country, and I went for ablution, and there was this guy next to me rubbing his hands like as if it's, he has some sort of chemicals on it, and he's clean. And I finished wudu, and I waited watching this guy, and this guy is doing it so strongly, it wasn't natural. So I joined the congregation, and I saw the man coming next to me, joining the congregation, and in the middle of the first rak'ah, he said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and went again to perform wudu. And after 2 rak'ahs, he came in, and he performed salah, and he broke it. And it took him an hour to an hour and a half, because there was a lecture afterwards. And the guy kept on going to the bathroom and coming and performing wudu. And you can tell by looking at the man that he is obsessed. It is us who bring this to ourselves. Have faith in Allah Azza wa Jal. Have faith in what you're doing. You are a sane person. Don't convince yourself that I'm insane, because if you do, you will be. So what do I do with the feeling that I'm dripping? Don't. You're not dripping, because it's a disease, it's an illness. If you have a continuous urination, dripping, this is an illness that a doctor, a physician could diagnose and give you a cure. But if you don't, then it's all in your mind. Certain things are not removed by doubt. So if you don't hear a noise when you're praying that you've passed wind, and if you hear the noise, everybody else will hear it, and you'll be in trouble. And if you don't find the odor, you don't find the bad smell, then this means that there's nothing coming out. Now again, I'm talking about the doubt. But if a person does pass wind, and he's certain of this, and the amount that came out was so negligible that there's no odor and there's no smell, should I fool myself and say, I didn't find any odor and I didn't hear any noise? No. If you're certain, then you're certain. But if we're talking about the obsession, we're talking about the doubt that comes on and on. I think this wraps it up, and this is all the time we have for today's program. Until we meet next time, fi amanillah, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.